Tapping or EFT, emotional freedom techniques, radically improves your life. It rewires the brain to respond in healthier ways, but also it restores your body's balance of energy. Studies come in every single day approving tapping and how it works. I remember one of my first experiences with tapping. For me, it was about 25 years ago. And despite having given up smoking over 10 years previously, I had suddenly developed a really bad cough, and it got worse and it got worse, and it left me unable to finish a sentence. And after literally 3 months of, medical investigations and not finding why this was happening, the doctor decided to do a pulmonary puncture on me to see what would show up maybe from the liquid in my lungs. Well, I agreed to do it as soon as I came back, but I was leaving for Los Angeles the next morning. And on the plane to LA, I read on the plane in some newspaper article about EFT. And so I decided to check it out. It sounded very strange, but I was curious. And after landing, I found a workshop that, as luck would have it, it was only 2 blocks from where I was staying. And the next day, I attended the workshop, and literally 2 hours later, the cough was gone. Yeah, gone. I could talk, I could finish my sentences. And back in France, when my doctor asked me, "Hey, Nicole, what happened?" And I showed him how I tapped, and he looked at me as if I was nuts. And he ended the appointment. And, from that day on, I tap on everything. It works on pain. It works on overcoming limiting beliefs. It works on weight issues, on money gains, and the stories go on and on. Sure, I was skeptical, when I first attended the workshop, but I was curious. But as the results spoke for themselves, I became hooked. And I really hope you're going to get hooked too. I started asking myself, what could I change in my life? Like, what else is possible? And over the last 20 years, friends, clients, family, and myself have been completely convinced over and over again with our results. And the truth is, this is the way the world is, right? We have the things that we've learned from our parents, we've learned from society, lessons that, we've taken in from previous experiences, often sadly negative. And those things are holding us back today. Like, being laughed at in school because you really read badly or you got your sums wrong. And since then, you have this limiting but sort of unknown belief that you're not inclined to read well, or you can't add 2 + 2. These experiences that we had as a child and we hold on to for so long, and we just can't let go of. So with this tapping, we get to these core issues and we get to the things that are holding us back. We're not aware of them, but they're in the background in our subconscious. Most of us know what we want to change. We have the thing that we're working on now, whether it be following our dreams or being able to make more money or, feeling unlimited with our finances, or whether it be to lose that weight or to speak in public, which scares a lot of people, or to improve our relationships, to attract the right partner or to get rid of the partner. But to do these things, you've got to go to the core and you've got to clean up that stuff from your past. Now, research proves that when we tap on these end points of our body, they're called meridian end points, while focusing on the stress or the pain, the challenge of whatever's going on in our lives that we're trying to overcome, we send a calming signal to the amygdala, which is in the brain. Now, you might have heard of the amygdala as that fight or flight response center, right? It's part of the brain that stresses out. It's a part of a brain that when we get an email from our boss and it's not good news, it just locks us up. And it's the part of our brain that remembers that kid in school stood up in front of the class and everyone laughed. You might not remember it consciously, but your body remembers it. And that's the amygdala. That's the amygdala firing out negative frequencies. And it's that part that encodes, that embodies these negative experiences into our body, autonomic nervous system, and they're holding us back unknowingly. We often don't recognize the pattern of stress, especially the chronic stress, especially like, the repetitive stress, which happens, time and time again. But that's draining our bodies. It's draining our physical resources. Every time that we're stressed, cortisol starts streaming through the body, and the blood flows away from our brains, especially from the prefrontal cortex, and it goes into our forebrain, it goes into our arms, into our legs. And why? Why does that happen? Well, because the body thinks it's in danger. That's why. And when the amygdala fires that fight or flight response, that activates the body. I'm not safe. Certainly it served us in the past in real immediate danger. Imagine like a crocodile at your feet in the grass, and that crocodile chases us and we want to run, we want to fight, we want to flee. But the problem is that we are activating that really ancient mechanism all the time. The problem is that when we get that overdue invoice in the mail, when we get that mortgage statement, when the person we don't want to speak to calls us up, when we look at our bank statement and it just doesn't feel safe, well, that feels like the crocodile. It feels like that crocodile is chasing us. We're activating that response. And what is perhaps so hurtful about this response, when it's happening on a daily basis, it plays havoc on the body. It plays havoc on the mind and on the immune system, everything. Stress runs rampant, like a dark shadow, in and out of our bodies. And that blood flows away from the forebrain into the arms. And guess what happens? You're suddenly dumb. Yeah, right. Because the blood flows away from all our resources of the brain where we need the creativity, the things that we need just in the moment to come up with like a better solution, to come up with an idea. When you're having a fight with your partner and you need the right answer and you're feeling that stress response, that very thing that you need, which is patience and certainty and compassion and peace, right? Those are the resources we need to make that moment of healing, but they're gone because we're in that fight or flight response. And because we have this conditioned expectation that we're in danger. It's my belief that virtually anything you want to change in your life, when you deconstruct it to the core, there's that amygdala that's firing. Tapping cuts to the root of that. And we start reconditioning ourselves. So that stress response that comes up so quickly, that thing where you go, I can't believe I did this again, or I said this again. Is anyone familiar with self-sabotage? Yeah, we feel terrible afterwards. I mean, if we look at procrastination, right, it's so logical. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Why are we not doing the things that we want to do in our lives, the things that we love, the things that we know are going to bring us joy? But until you play that procrastination out and you find things like, well, I think about, let's take auditioning for that play, that theatrical play. I will be laughed at again. I'll be laughed off the stage during the audition. Or writing a book. Oh my God, I'm terrified. We can get to the root. We can get to that stress response. And we get to that amygdala to calm it down and to rewire the brain. Because we are rewiring the brain. We are rewiring the way the brain is acting and reacting. It's one of the reasons why we see so much success with tapping. You know, from claustrophobia, people have got claustrophobia, can't go in an airplane, can't go in an elevator, you know, physical pains, endless addiction issues. Tapping is extraordinarily effective on pain relief. Katerina, you can find her story in my testimonials, became clean, not in remission, clean, after 19 years of cancer, 6 operations. And she's just one of hundreds, if not thousands of stories. I'm going to show you the process. If you're not familiar with it, and we're all going to tap together, if you're in pain, choose to focus on that. It can be emotional pain, mental pain, physical pain. Just set the intention that you're going to work on it. And if you're not in pain right now, pick something else that you want to work on. And it can be anything, right? We want to try to get specific with tapping. So you don't want to say, let's take stress. You don't want to say, oh, I'm stressed out about my life, and tap on that. You want to say what specifically that you're stressed out about. And even if you're stressed out of that, work, for example, well, what at work? Specifically, what's stressing you out? Something someone said to me 2 weeks ago, last week, I read, right? The anger that I've been feeling in my body, and I just haven't been able to let go of that anger. Or the anxiety and this sort of niggledy feeling about something that's coming up, okay? So get really specific and just take a moment. Now, you can close your eyes and go deep and feel that emotion or that pain. Close your eyes and take a deep breath and just think about that one thing that you'd like to let go of. And try to pick something that, again, is like a 5 or higher in intensity. It could be emotional. It could be anger. It could be anxiety or sadness. It can be a physical feeling. It can be a feeling of being overwhelmed about something. If you don't have pain in your body, it can be other sensations or other tensions in your neck or in your shoulders. If you're having trouble taking a deep breath, maybe you can feel some constriction in your chest, or you can choose that. So just identify your target and give that target a number, an intensity on the 0 to 10 scale. 0, nothing, 10 off the charts. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get started with just basic tapping so that we can understand the basics of it. All right? So let's start by tapping on the side of the hand, the fleshy part, the karate chop. We're all going to use the same language. So don't worry about the fact that you might have already made the intention to work on something else. And that's fine, because we're all going to tap together, okay? And it's very generic. So tapping on the fleshy outside side of the hand, either hand, doesn't matter. Even though I have this pain in my body, good, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And we're going to say that 2 more times, still tapping on the side of the hand. We call this the setup phase. Even though I have all this pain in my body, I love, accept, and forgive myself. And then once more, you can change hands if you want to. Even though I have all this pain in my body, I love, accept, and forgive myself. And now we're going to tap through the points. But first, just explaining what's happening here, we're saying the most basic setup statement is even though, like we just did, and you fill in the blank with whatever's going on for you. I'm angry, I'm suffering, I'm anxious, I'm sad, this happened. And then you say, I love and I accept myself, or I choose to relax, or I respect myself. You say some sort of an affirming statement validating yourself. I know some of you are thinking like, I'm not going to affirm the negative, like we're being negative. Guess what? You cannot clean a spot on that tablecloth if you don't look at the spot. So we're not affirming the negative. We're just acknowledging what it is. We're feeling what is going on. And if you don't have pain in your body, just because you say, even though I have this pain in my body, your body's not going to create that pain for you. And if you do have pain, sometimes we like to push it away and say, I'm only going to be positive. I'm not going to affirm that pain, that anger. I'm not going to affirm that sadness. So let's take a moment to see the spots, see the dirt. And we can clean it up, all right? Trust me on this one. So let's tap through the points. Now the eyebrow point. Inside of the eyebrow, where you can see my fingers, right where the hair ends meets the bridge of your nose. You can use 2 fingers of one hand or both hands, doesn't matter. Because the meridians run down both sides of the body. So whatever is comfortable for you. And just repeat, this pain now, go to the side of the eye. It's not at the temple, it's in the crease, right next to the eye, on the eye bone. There's a pain in my body underneath your eye, your pupil. All this pain and stress under the nose, stuck in my body. Under the mouth, above the chin, below the lip, in that little crease. There's all this pain in my body. Collarbone. Outreach either a palm of a hand or 1 inch down, 2 fingers, it doesn't really matter. All this horrible pain in my body. Underneath your armpit, at the height of the bra strap for women, all this pain in my body, or all these bad emotions. And last point, just top of the head, play the piano up there. There's so many meridian endpoints. And keep on saying, I acknowledge specifically what I want to let go. And back to the eyebrow. This pain, side of the eye. The stress under the eye. The stressful issue under the nose. I've been holding on to the stressful issue under the mouth. I wonder what it's all about. Collarbone. I wonder if I can let the stress go under the arm. All this pain or all this stress in my body. Top of the head. All the stress and pain. Take a deep breath and let it go. Take a moment now and tune into the pain, into the anxiety, whatever you're working on. And just sort of see if there was like any kind of a shift. And then we also pay attention to what came up while you were tapping, because very often we have ideas, we have thoughts that come up while we're tapping. So first time that you're doing the tapping, you're focused on getting the points right and not looking too silly. But once you get into it, you'll find that, other ideas and thoughts and memories and impressions, they come up that might be related to this issue that you're working on. Okay, so who has thought to themselves in the last decade, or more or less, why am I so negative? Why do I keep on thinking negative thoughts? But I just don't, okay? Okay, so here's what's happening. Right when we think we know we should think positive thoughts and be positive, and then what happens? We have all these negative experiences and things that aren't going, well, and things that are going through our minds. And we're like, why is this happening to me? What have I done? And we get to think about that crocodile. We think about that crocodile in the swamp. I think about the 10,000 generations that our bodies have developed to face that danger. Here's what happens. When that crocodile in the swamp or in the high grass If I'm walking by the swamp, I better believe that there's a nasty, hungry crocodile in that swampy water. Whether there's one or not, I better be pretty negative about that crocodile and that swamp. Like I said, maybe the crocodile's there, maybe it's not, but I can't take the chance. So what happens if I'm not negative about it? What if I'm like saying, oh, positive affirmations, the water's clean, everything's fine, and I'm walking past the crocodile in the swamp? All is well. I'm going to die, right? I'm going to be eaten. So we're working with a really ancient brain. I want you to remember that you're trying to change your life. And that crocodile chasing you, remember that picture? And you're being negative and you're all pissed off at yourself because you're being negative? Well, just know that this is a very ancient part of your brain that is doing its job. It's doing its job so that you can say, thank you for alerting me to the potential danger. But I don't see it as a potential danger. And one of the ways we can turn off that danger, that fight or flight response, that alarm, is to do the tapping. To do the tapping when we're feeling that potential danger or that pain or that anger. Does that make sense? Right. Now, doesn't that feel better instead of just beating ourselves up like, oh, there must be something wrong with me. I know everyone else is positive because they're always smiling, or I keep thinking negative things. All right, we're all wired that way. So when we acknowledge it, we actually can be positive and make that conscious choice. But it's a choice. It doesn't happen on its own. It's a choice. So let's wrap up. I want you to take a moment and just pick the one thing in your life that you want to change. It can be big, it can be small, it can be, I want to lose 30 kilos, it can be, I want to write my book, it can be, I want to make that breakthrough in business. Just one thing that's been in front of you that you want to change. And go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath. And I want you to start imagining that dream coming true. So if you want to publish a book, see it happening. See yourself writing it. See it being published. If you have a financial goal of, let's say I want to make $1 million or more or less, and I want to see that money in my bank. See it, imagine it. See the house you want. See the relationship of your dreams. See the car of your dreams. If you're looking to attract a new love, see that happening, that man or that woman coming into your life. You're struggling with existing relationships, see them being healed. So feel into that feeling and into that positive feeling in your body, and still with your eyes closed, imagining that image. I want you to ask yourself mentally, what's the downside of all this happening? And look for the places in that image where something just feels like a little bit off. When you see yourself in your dream house, maybe it's horrible neighbors. If you're writing that book, maybe you're seeing bad reviews in the press. Find the places where you doubt yourself and just pick one thing. A bunch of things might come up, but one thing that you can see right now, you know what that is in the way of a dream, that's in the way of my goal. It's just an obstacle into my vision of what I want. Pick one specific thing and feel it in your body. Where do you feel it? Is there an emotion around this? When you feel it, are you angry? Or are you sad? Or are you frustrated that you've been dealing with this issue for so long? Give it a number. Rate it on a 0 to 10 scale. And when you're ready, Slowly open your eyes, and we're going to continue tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I have this thing in front of me, I have been holding on to it for so long, and it's so frustrating, and I'm so angry about it, and I want to let it go, but it feels so hard to let it go. And I love, accept, and respect myself, and I forgive myself. You can change hands if you want to. Even though I've been holding on to this thing, I want to let it go. It's in the way, but I just can't seem to. I love and accept and I forgive myself. Even though I see my dream, I can imagine it right in front of me. I can feel it happening. If only I could dissolve these problems and these obstacles. And I choose to dissolve them. And I choose to love and accept and to forgive myself. Now we go back to the eyebrow. And you say, this block, side of the eye, this challenge under the eye, this challenge in my dream under the nose, what if I could let it go? In the crease of the chin, what if I could finally let it go? Collarbone, what if I could make this dream of mine come true? Under the arm, what if I could let go and forgive myself? Top of the head. All these things that have been holding me back to the eyebrow. It's time to let it go. Side of the eye. I acknowledge them. Under the eye. I thank them. Under the nose. But I've had enough. In the mouth. And I'm ready to let all that go. Collarbone. I'm ready to make my dream come true. I'm ready to have my goals manifest. Under the arm. To release all this old stress. Top of the head. All this old trauma. Eyebrows. It's an old story, and I'm sorry that it's been holding me back. Side of the eye. And it's now time for me to let it go. Under your eyes, this old story. Under your nose, don't want it. Under the mouth, this old story. Collarbone, I'm letting it go. I'm choosing to let it go. Under the arm, I'm letting it all go. I'm forgiving myself. Top of the head. Play that piano and take a deep breath in. And now look back and see if you feel a shift. Just feel into what happened. There, what's coming up for you now? And tune into that thing that was in your way before. And see how that number has shifted. Maybe it was a 7 and now it's a 5. Or maybe it was a 5 and now it's a 4. Just notice what changed. And also notice what came up. You see, these were just a few minutes of tapping. But in those few minutes, you took steps towards that goal. And it's my belief that you likely took the most positive steps that you've ever taken towards that goal. Because we can dream and want things until we're blue in the face. We can write down goals, we can make plans, we can know all the things that we want to do and have. But until we get to that core of that emotional block, of that resistance, of that experience, the reasons why we're not doing what we want to do, and until we clear them, until we acknowledge the childhood pain or the trauma or the things that people said or what you're scared of or what you're frightened of, and until you acknowledge that while tapping, that amygdala is running your life. A dream is going to stay, but it's going to stay way out there. But you can bring it here. You can make it happen. You have the power within your fingertips of your hand. I look forward to seeing you in the workshop. And if you want, you can also download a free EFT workshop from the link tree in my bio. It's called Dismantle Barriers to Your Success. And thank you for trusting me with your time. Bye.